Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Kudash. Welcome to the live lesson. The name of this one is Everybody's Talking About It. Some are right, some are wrong. Now, I've been watching some videos from earlier today, just trying to, get a lesson going. And pretty much, the latest is Bishop Yawasop butchering the book of Revelation 13 with no understanding. Brothers have done videos on him showing how he teaches the breakdown of the MOTB the same way that Pat Robertson and other so-called Christians break it down. But not every so-called Christian out there breaks it down the same way, because you have some, especially those of the Bible Belt, some that do more studying, that get a little deeper into the scriptures, that are teaching that it's an actual device, which is the micro C-hip. Now, in this video that I have here, I want to play a little bit of it. Hopefully they don't give me a strike or a copyright, infringement. Hope not. I'm gonna, this is just a disclaimer. This is I'm not making any money off of this content. It's just used for educational purposes. And I'm just sharing information that I ran across. But in this video here, it's called It's Already Started, but people don't see it. There's an individual by the name of Lion of Judah. I don't know if this individual is a Jake that knows he's an Israelite or what the case is, but more than likely it is. And this individual that's breaking this down, he got this video from somewhere else, I believe, and he posted it up. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what happened. But the individual that's speaking in this video is hitting very good points, but he's also going off completely, because he's hitting good points, which I'm going to play this part here, but then he goes totally off when he goes into what the MOTB really is, and I didn't watch the whole video. I think I watched maybe about almost 4 minutes of it. I got to go back and finish watching it just to see what else he said in it. But I'm going to play it, real quick. And hopefully they don't give me a copyright strike or copyright issues. It's just fair use. This is just for educational purposes. I'm not making money off of this content. I don't own this content. I'm just sharing information. So let's go. So you heard it. You could go back and watch it. I linked this in the description box. So that part right there is very prolific. He said a whole lot, and true. The digital ID is not, the MOTB, but it is a part of the beast system, because there's no coincidence that everything that we see today is being linked to a digital system, where they're trying to collapse the economies of the. There's no audio, no sound. Okay, so I'm going to try to play it out over here on this. So let me try to put it over here. Just bear with me while I get the I thought it would play, but can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? It's already started. But people don't see.
4. The national debt of the United States has surpassed $35 trillion, a continuous.
Okay, cool. So let me know if you hear this.
Second most indebted country has a national debt exceeding $13 trillion. While this number is lower than that of the United States, it's significant.
That's not it. That's not the one. 3 days ago, when was this? 3 weeks ago. This ain't the one. Hold on. But can you hear that? Just okay, cool.
Line of Judah motivation.
All right, so let me see if I can find. Okay, that's not it. Because the one I was just playing was from 3 weeks ago. Oh, here we go. Yep, this is it. Yep, this is it. So I'm going to go straight to the point.
Behind the scenes that seems to be wanting to take away more and more of the individual freedoms and civil liberties of the average person. If you look at the world around you, there is an unnatural force that is aligning global leaders together to create a world where you cannot buy or sell without a mark. While we are not saying that digital IDs is the mark of the beast itself, the systems being put in place today bear a striking resemblance to the economic and social controls described in the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation. Revelation 13 introduces.
So y'all get it. Y'all heard it, right? Matter of fact. So like I said, fair use, fair use. So pretty much he's saying that, the way that everything is going, they're, pretty much marching forward in so many words to the MOTB. Now, when you watch the rest of this video, I just only watch about 4 minutes of it. But when you watch the next part of this video, he pretty much is breaking down he goes off big time, but there's certain points that he makes that are good. And he pretty much says that the MOTB, from what I understand, what I heard so far, he's breaking it down the way that, the IUIC breaks it down and other Christian groups that don't know what the hell is going on. But the point that he made was he's saying that the digital ID is not the MOTB, which it's not. But that's what he said, and he pretty much mentioned how the whole economic system, is what they're pushing people towards in order to, to implement this MOTB. But he's talking about the Antichrist and all of that, But although the digital ID is not the MOTB, it's a part of this beast system. And the beast system is what they're bringing in place. And this is why they're collapsing the economies of the world in order to push in this digital system, because once they get the system in place, then they can make all the necessary provisions, to be able to get everyone to comply or get cut out the system. See, because the point is getting it in there. Like, I've mentioned in other lessons how they just wanted to get the bill for the Federal Reserve System passed. They had to make certain provisions in there that would not be beneficial to big business, and others that were a part of putting that whole writ, I guess, for lack of better words, together. They were not on board with Paul Warburg, as far as him making those provisions. But he told those stupid individuals that had no vision, he said, look, we just want to get the bill passed. Once we get it passed, then we can make the provisions. But they were too stupid to see that, because their greed and their lust for money didn't allow them to formulate that in their mind, that look, we get it passed and then we can make the necessary provisions. That's what the digital system is all about. Getting it passed, whether they do the Bitcoin, whether they do the Ethereum, Dogecoin, or any other cryptocurrency or any other digital currency. The point is to get the system online so that they can bring in the rest, because the MOTB is predicated upon the economy and being able to do business, whether you're selling or buying. And if you don't comply with the system, you will get cut out of it. And after they pretty much deceive a lot of people of the world to receive that MOTB, the rest of the resistors will, some of them will be put to death. They will have their heads chopped off, as the Apostle John saw in the vision in Revelation chapter 20. You see, because these devils, their greed will not allow them to have anyone off of the grid. They want everybody on the grid. They want everybody to be slaves to them. And once, if they were able to achieve everyone on the planet being slaves under them and get all the money, resources, lands of everything all over the planet and have everybody in total domination and control, that still wouldn't be enough. That's why Yahweh Shai said, if those days be not shortened, there shall no flesh be left to be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Now, we're going to go to the book of Revelation 13. And those of you that are tired of hearing it, then go to another video. Because this is the times that we're in. We're in a time, of the MOTB. We're in a time when this prophecy, which is a very important prophecy that has to be fulfilled in order for us to be delivered out of here, in order for the rest of the prophecies to be fulfilled, like the time of Jacob's trouble, World War III, and the coming of Yahweh Shai. These other prophecies cannot be fully fulfilled until, the MOTB is fulfilled. And that's what we're pushing and praying that the Lord hurries up and brings here. Because the sooner that this comes, the sooner this whole world will collapse. The sooner Esau's kingdom will fall. All right? Fall. Inside joke. Revelation 13:16. It says, and he calls it all, both small and great. And when it says all, it means all. Small and great, meaning those that are insignificant. You could have slaves that are insignificant, or you could have business people that are insignificant. You could have workers that are insignificant, and great, meaning the ones that are in prominent positions. You could have politicians, judges, lawyers, so on and so forth. It says rich and poor, and it means rich and poor. It's talking about people. The super rich, as far as people that have millions and billions of dollars, and the poor, the ones that are in the ghettos, the ones that are, that are out here in the world that are poor. So all peoples on the planet, whether they're small or great, rich or poor, free or bond, whether you have freedom or whether you're a slave. Because believe it or not, in 2024, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, you still have slavery going on to this very day. It says to receive. To receive means to get. A M-A-R-K in their right hand or in their foreheads. And it means just that, whether it be in the hand or the forehead. Now, Deacon Bishop Yawasap, he said, what was that scripture he went to? The frontlets. He went to the book of the law, and that where it talks about the frontlets, to try to say that's talking about that the MOTB is the opposite of that, in so many words. I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but he's trying to use the justification of the frontlets or the phylacteries to say that's the most, I guess, for lack of better words, the most highest mark, and that's what this MOTB is today, which is complying with Esau's regulations, rules, and regulations. No, there's an actual physical device that's going to be inserted into people in order for them to operate and function in this system. All right. It says, and that no man might buy or sell. And that means just that. You won't be able to do any type of business if you do not receive this MOTB, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So what we have to do, because he went into the word mark, but he broke it down wrong, this individual in that video, that had the M-A-R-K, which goes back to the word charagma. All right, charagma, which goes back to the word karax. And when you go to the word charagma, it says a stamped and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the foreheads or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the anti-Messiah, which there's many antichrists. There's not just one. Let's get that real quick for those of you that don't know. Let's go to the book of 1 John. My bad. Let's go to the book of 1 John, chapter 2, and verse 18. Little children, it is the last time, and as you have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. And there are many anti-messiahs. Now, during the time when the Apostle John was writing this, you had a lot of anti-messiahs coming against the word. But this wasn't the time of the very end, but that was a time of the end back then. That was a time of the, of a great apostasy even after 70 AD happened. There was a great apostasy going on even after 70 AD, prior to it and even after it. And today there is a great spirit out here of apostasy going on among all of these camps, even the ones that know that they're Israelites. And it's crazy to see. But it's necessary because the Lord is making the truth more and more precious. With all this information that comes out, with all of the avenues to receive information, to be able to study, the Lord is making the path to his truth more and more narrow as each day goes by. Let's get that real quick. Let's go to Matthew. Basic building block scriptures, chapter 7 and verse 13. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate. Now, if you look at the word straight here, for those of you that don't know, it's not spelled with the GH, which is when you go straight ahead. It's spelled S-T-R-A-I-T. Now, what does that mean? When you look at that word straight in the way that it's spelled, it's the word stenos, which reminds me of the word strenuous. Narrow, straight. See? So what is narrow? Something that you have a wide road, and then when you walk a quarter mile ahead or drive a quarter mile ahead, the road narrows or it gets tighter. That's what it means by straight. And then when you look at that word straight up, right here, straight, a narrow passage of water connecting two seas or two other large areas of water. Yeah, because you have a big ocean, right? And then, or a big sea, and then there's two bodies of land, two peninsulas that come close to each other, and there's a little bit of water that goes between the two of them. That's called a strait, because it's more difficult to navigate, especially for a big ship, and they have to be expert navigators in order to get through it so they don't run the ship into the ground. Well, that's what this truth is like. It says, use in reference to a situation characterized by a specified degree of trouble or difficulty. You see? Okay. All right. Just thinking about some Salakia. So it says, use in reference to a situation characterized by a specified degree of trouble or difficulty. And that's exactly what it is. It's a position of difficulty. So when we go back to read this, right, it says, enter ye in at the straight gate, at the difficult gate. All right. For wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in there at, right? And that's why you have Christianity, Roman Catholicism, which is the same thing, Islam, all of these different religions that are broad, vast, And a lot of people are deceived by those things. Then you have the truth of the Israelites, which is a far smaller, portion, so to speak. But then within that, you have a whole lot of apostates that are teaching wayward doctrines and are going totally off. And the job of the prophet is to warn. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, and then we'll come back to that. The job of the prophet is to warn. And if Jake gets it, if they understand it and they prepare themselves, then beautiful. If not, then the hell with them. They will be destroyed. Trust and believe they will be destroyed if they rebel against the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Let me get rid of this here. All right. It says, verse 17, Son of man, I have made thee what? A watchman unto the house of Israel. What is a watchman? Someone that stands upon a tower, someone that watches for the enemy, or watches for danger, watches for trouble, and warns the people of these things that are coming. Another precept came to mind. Let me just grab that real quick so I don't forget it. All right. It says, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, because this message is for the Israelites, not for the nations. Now, we do speak to the nations and tell them what their judgment is going to be in the kingdom of heaven, and their judgment in the kingdom of heaven is going to be slavery. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. You see? And if they receive it, beautiful. And if they don't, they're going to be judged. But the thing is, us getting the blood off of our hands, because there's going to be bloodshed. The Lord's going to shed a lot of blood out here. But when we tell them, then that takes their blood off of us. Because if we don't tell them, guess what? Then we're in danger. And then their blood will be on our hands, because they will surely be deleted by the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So the word for warning is the word zahar, to admonish, warn, teach, shine, and send out light. Be light, be shining. Then Yahushai tell the disciples, "You are the light of the world. A city that's set up on a hill cannot be hid." So this truth is supposed to be out there in the forefront, and that's why Great Millstone is the most hated camp out there, the least desired camp, the most hated, the most slandered, the most bearing false witness against, the most lied upon. That's why the deacon Hakah, that demon, he's doing in a few days or whatever, he's doing a video. Forget what the name. Well, let me see. Just bear with me 1 second. The name of the video that he's gonna do in what is it? In the 23rd, which is a couple of days from now, 3 days from now, is Meet GMS Black Cult that wants to take little girls. You see? And that dude is a straight up demon. And we've been telling you that dude is a demon. Some of you brothers see it, some of you don't. We told you that the leadership of Sakari were two demons, Alazar and Hakah. And then another demon, Hassad, he was just like a individual that was there, which I personally thought he was sincere, but come to find out that dude is nothing but a straight up, he's become twofold the child of hell than all those individuals. But hey, as the judge of a people is, so are the citizens, pretty much, in so many words. But that's okay. Be that way. And I wasn't trying to rhyme. So give them warning from me. That is our job, to warn. Ezekiel chapter 13:3, thus saith the Lord power, woe unto the foolish prophets that follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. O Israel, thy prophets are like the foxes in the deserts. What is a fox known for? Sly, slickness. What are they doing? They're watching, and they're pretty much thieves. They're looking for the prey, and they lurking in the shadows. You have not gone up into the gaps, because even some of these leaders don't even go out in the streets anymore. They're too good to go out in the streets. They figure they put in their 20 years or whatever, however many years they put in, and then that's it. They retired now from going out on the streets. You know, they're retired now from going out on the streets. Amazing. A prophet does not retire. It says, neither made up the hedge for the house of Israel to stand in the battle in the day of the Lord. So they have not made up the hedge. They have not built that, you know, they have not constructed the safe haven for Jake. And what is a safe haven? Then there was just a priest. Okay, I came back. Let's go to Psalms 91. This is a beautiful Psalms. Psalms 91:1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. You will be protected. And what is the secret place of the Most High? This truth. See? Will abide. So when all hell breaks loose, the Lord said he's going to deliver his elect from all of this. It says, I will say of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. But here it is, you got these false prophets that are not teaching the people what the MOTB is. They're telling them something totally opposite. And the Lord's going to deal with them. So let's go back. Let's read this again. Ezekiel 13:5, you have not gone up into the gaps, neither made up the hedge. So what is a part of the hedge? Let's look up this word hedge. What is a part of this hedge that they have not made up? The word there is gadar, fence, wall. Circumvallation, right. Circumvallation means something that helps turn around something. Let's see, circumvallate, surround with, or if with a rampart. What is a rampart? Something for protection. So what is the protection? The words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, explaining to them what these things are, explaining to them that the MOTB is the micro C-hip, and for them to be aware of it, not to take it, because this is the way that the system is moving in the direction of the MOTB, which is the micro C-hip, and it's all predicated upon the economy. See? It says by implication and enclosure, right, hedge. So it's a wall. It's something for protection. So if you warn the people, you got to know, if you warn it, I'm warning you about something. What is the person's, if they're in their right mind, what are they going to ask you? What are you warning us about? And in this case is the MOTB, which is the micro C-hip. So going back, the word karagma, of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of Yahushai. I'm sorry, that's Satan. Anti-Messiah is one that slipped with his mouth, but not from his heart. That was Satan. The anti-Messiah badge, right? Definition. A distinctive emblem worn as a mark of office, membership, achievement, licensed employment, etc. So it'd be the membership and the licensed employment, because the only way you could do business in the system that's coming, which is going to be a digital system, is by accepting that badge or that MARK, right? And that's the word karagma, which is the actual device where they will have your information on it, you know, and it's not gonna be a whole lot of information on this. It's gonna be who you are, your financial records, possibly criminal records, definitely your they definitely should have, you know, your medical records in there. If not, that device links to a bigger computer that will have all of this other information on it. But the main thing on there is your name, you know, who you are, your number, of course, because each one of those micro C-hips has a special number in it, you know. Your finance, because when you go to the store and you go to the self checkout, or even if you go to the checkout where somebody's there and you give them a credit card, that credit card is linked to you. It has your name on it. It has your financial information on there, and it gives you, you know, what you have. In certain cases, there's certain cards or EBT cards that give you a balance of what you have left. You know, when you go to the bank or ATM and you put your card in there, you either take money out or put money in. When you print the receipt, it gives you a balance of what you have left in there. So it's all linked in that way. But this way, the way they're doing it is so that everybody can be MARK'd, micro C-hipped, because they understand the rules of servitude. They understand that if you have this device implanted into you, then you are a slave because you are branded. You see? Now, what does the word branded mean? The word branded means having a brand name. See, so you become their brand name, and in those micro C-hips, no, I wouldn't be surprised if they'll be assigned to each one of those top tier international banking families. You know, this particular slave belongs to the Rothschild. This particular slave belongs to the Rockefeller, so on and so forth. Just like when you had cattle or any, animal, right, or anything that belonged to you, you would put your signet on it, your mark on it. And when people found it, they knew that it belonged to you and they were supposed to return it to you. That's why we told you already what the mark is. Just accept it or beat it. Yeah. Eben Carter. Who is this? How you feel about crypto? I think it's all tied in. Well, it's tied into the system. But that the crypto is not the MOTB, but the crypto is a form of digital currency that they want to implement so that they can get the system online. That's what they want. As once they get the digital system moving and people operating on this digital system fully, that's when they can lower the boom and bring in the micro C-hip, which is the ultimate goal. Got it straight from the horse's mouth. Nick Rockefeller. He had an interview back in, I believe it was the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been earlier than that, but he had an interview or a get-together with Aaron Russo, who was a movie producer. And he and Nick Rockefeller happened to like Aaron Russo, and he was trying to get him on the side of the international bankers because he really liked the guy. And what he did was he explained to them things that were coming. He was asking questions and giving them information. So Aaron Russo asked him, so what's the ultimate goal? And he said to micro C-hip everyone, micro C-hip the world. Take the micro C-hip, add the C to the hip, put it together and you'll get it. We got to speak in code. And that's what he told him. They want everybody in the world micro C-hipped. And then the international bankers, they would have a code, which I don't know if they still use that code. They probably use something else. Their code would be KMA. And he said, what does that mean? He said, kiss my ass. Because to them, it's just a joke. It's about getting people, it's about getting people on the hook, getting people into the system, getting people, to be their perpetual slaves. Because nothing brings a person into slavery more than debt. You have something called debt slavery. Proverbs 22:7. I got Matthew on the brain. It says, the rich ruleth over the poor, and is so to this very day. And the borrower is servant to the lender. So the one that borrows is a servant to the lender. Who is the lender? The international bankers. Because we don't have that ability. Because we're under the curse of Deuteronomy chapter 28. All these curses apply to us, And when we go to Deuteronomy 28 and 43, it says the stranger, which in this case, in this particular verse, the word stranger here means the other nations, that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. And we see that. Esau, the nations, these heathens, they are above us. They have wealth. They have generational wealth. They have, businesses. They have, homes that they bought, that they own. You know, we don't have that. And then the ones that do have it, what do? They still are in debt. Why are they in debt? Because they still have to pay a tax, and they never pay that house off. You had this woman speaking about a loan that she took out, or some that she had, and she said she's been paid already the sum of the money that she owed, but she still owes the same amount and even more. Because the monetary system that's set up in place is not set up, righteously. It's set up in wickedness. What is that? That's Micah 6. Let me get this, and then we're gonna go back. Micah chapter 6 and 10. And are there yet the treasures of wickedness in the house of the wicked? And the answer to that is yes. It says, and the scant measure that is abominable. What is a scant measure? A scant measure is a small amount. Basically, like you have, money that they'll say is worth so much, but really when you look at the value of the money and what it can buy, it buys a whole lot less, because the value of that particular money is not worth what they say it's worth, because they're constantly printing more and more of these FRNs. And what's happening is that in the printing of these FRNs, what it does, it makes the money cheaper. Like I like to use an example of George Edward Griffin. I don't know where he got it from. He mentioned, soup. You make a soup or a stew, and that soup is delicious, right? But then as it goes down, you want it to stretch it out so other people can eat of it. So you keep adding water to it and adding water to it and adding water to it. And the more that goes out, the more water you add to it. What's going to happen? That water, that soup is going to be watered down. That's what's happening with the money system. The money system is watered down. So it's not worth what they say it's worth, because it's been devalued. So the word there for scant is ratazawan, which means leanness, scantness, wasting. Leanness, wasting of disease, scantness of measure. And when you look up that word scant, right? You look up that word scant. It's barely sufficient or adequate. And that's exactly what the money system is like. And that's why that's going to cause a great famine. And then it says measure that is abominable. So it's an abomination to the Lord, because you're robbing people. The Lord said he's against those that oppress the hireling in his wages. It says, shall I count them pure with the wicked balances and with the bag of deceitful weights? Because back then money was weighed. You had weights, and whatever, like today you have pound, you have a ounce, you have 10 ounces, you have grams, you have, a pound, gallons, so on and so forth. Well, back then you had the same thing, with different names, and then you would have coins, your gold coins, your silver coins, your precious stones, and then you would put it on there, and they say, okay, this right here costs an ounce. And then you would put an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver or an ounce of whatever, and you would get an even trade-off. But sometimes they would tweak those weights to where it would benefit the one that was selling. That's why it says that sin sticketh close between buying and selling. All right. Now, this scant measure or this leanness in the money system is going to cause a great famine. And this woman, I was watching the video, and she had a vision of this famine that's coming, and she was absolutely right, because what's happening is as we progress in the society, these devils are destroying, the food. They're burning down different warehouses where they store these foods, or make these foods. So they're systematically causing a famine, through what they're doing, through this the way that they're moving everything, because at the end of the day, they want to control everything. All right. Does anybody know? Okay, well, Second Ezra 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. And what are the sown places? The farmers. Are not the farmers catching hell worldwide? The governments of the world are putting so much pressure on them and so many taxes on them that they're going out of business. They can't function. And they're told to destroy this crop and that crop and this animal and that animal. It says the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. What are the storehouses? These are your warehouses. You have the supermarket that has food, but then you have warehouses where these foods are bottled, canned, boxed, or whatever the case may be. Well, that's going to be empty because the supplies are running out. So that's going to cause what? A supreme famine, which is one of the things that Yahushua spoke about. There will be famines in the world. All right, so let's go. So let's go to Revelation chapter 6, and this is part of the vision that we see that's coming. This is the vision of the black horse. And the black horse pretty much represents that darkness, which is going to be a bad time, which is going to be a time of great famine, great distress. Revelation 6:5, and Yahushua said there would be famines. Yeah, well, even some of those farmers markets and all that, they pretty much are tainted too, because some of them have to be under the orders of the government. Otherwise, they won't get funding. They won't get certain things. They're selling GMO seeds. You go into a place, and if they're not using GMO seeds, if they're using the regular seeds, they got to use those pesticides, Roundup, and all of that. So it says Revelation 6:5, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And the word, well, you had in Revelation 3, right? You had the Lord, Yahushua said he would give the ones that make it through a white stone, which represents innocence, or innocence, clemency, acquittal. But a black stone, if you were judged and you had the white stone and the black stone, the person that had the white stone was free from guilt. But the person that had the black stone, they would be guilty and they would be punished. So this black horse, this is the punishment that's coming upon the world. In the Apocrypha, it speaks about scourges. All right. So let's look up this word black real quick, and then we'll come back to it. I want to see. I'm just curious. Because the word horse represents, if it's not talking about an actual horse, it represents power. The word there is melas, where you get the word melanin from. Black ink doesn't really say much. Yeah, it doesn't really say much. Right, see, so here you got black. Where is it? It's opposed to leukos. Leukos is white. Melas, black, leukos, white. All right, they're not really saying much on it. So this black horse, right? So it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Now, what are the balances for? Judgment. It's time to bring judgment. It's time to bring this particular judgment. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see, thou hurt not the oil and the wine." So now you're looking at that and say, oh, well, that seems like it's pretty good. You know, a measure of wheat for a penny, shit, a penny. But you're looking at it and a penny like today. A penny, people go to the store, buy something, and it might be $3.98, and they get 2 cents back. And sometimes they leave the 2 cents or 3 cents or 1 cent. They won't even bother to take it. So you're thinking, if I could buy a measure of wheat with a penny, I'm doing good. I'm gonna buy me three pennies worth. But that's because you're looking at it in the terms of today, as far as a penny and what it's worth today. When you look at this word penny here, which Elder Apostle Tar was the first one to go into this, you have the word denarion. Denarion goes back to the word denarius, and the denarius was the coin of choice of the Roman Empire. It was made of silver. All right. So now it says here denarius containing 10. Right. That's 10. Like you have, like, for instance, you have a dollar, you have a dime. I'm not saying that a dime is a denarius, but I'm just giving you so you could understand in terms of, 10. It says a Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses. This coin could buy 10 asses, 10 donkeys. So that means that this coin was worth pretty penny. A number after 217 BC. That's before the Messiah, or before the Common Era, before Christianity. Increased to 16, about 3.898 grams, or 1,375 ounces. And this was, this was pay for soldiers, and it was a damn good pay until they started devaluing it. It says it was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, I believe that's either Matthew 21 or Matthew 22. It says it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. Actually, Matthew 20 right there. So now you get the understanding that this penny is worth what? A day's wages. So when we read that again, and I heard the voice in the midst of the 4B say, a measure of wheat for a penny. So if you get a measure of wheat, it would take you a whole day's pay. So just imagine you having to buy, having to go out to get something to eat, and it costs you a whole day's pay. In today's terms, depending on what people make an hour, let's say that's $150 per meal. You go out to lunch, you get a meal, and it would cost you a whole day's pay. So do you see now why that's going to bring a great famine? Because people right now are struggling to pay their bills. They're struggling to pay, their rent, car notes, insurance, and then this devil taxes every goddamn thing. Here it is. The people that you work for, they're paying taxes. Like this woman was breaking it down, right? And she's paying taxes. And they're paying the taxes on the money that they're giving you. But then when you get it, they tax you again. And if you go buy something, they tax you again. And the people that you bought from, they get taxed again. You see? So it's a never-ending vicious cycle. Let me see something. I don't know if this computer is acting crazy, or like certain comments are popping up with certain individuals, and then all of a sudden they just disappear. Shit is crazy. Anyways. All right. So let's read this again. Revelation 6:6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4B say, a measure of wheat for a day's pay. Pretty much. And 3 measures of barley for a day's wages. That's that penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine, because the oil and the wine represents what? The elect. So in the midst of this whole process, the elect are going to be protected. That's why it says, my servant shall eat. See, the servants of the Lord, the elect, are going to be protected in this time. The only ones that will be deleted are the ones that the Lord set up that way in order for them to glorify him in that fashion, as we read in Revelation chapter 20. We didn't read it, but as you read in Revelation chapter 20, verse 4, where the ones that were beheaded for not taking the MOTB. No, it's not. Oh boy, here we go with demon. 7 spirits. You're a demon. Mark of the beast is the tax ID and social. See, that just disappeared. I mean, I don't know if the elders clipping them, but I don't see that. I don't see, which is cool, but I just don't see the comment. Somebody 7 spirits, and then it just disappeared. I mean, if the elders clipping them, then that's good. But usually it says so and so was clipped by such and such, and I don't see it. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So you're on it. I figured, I said, damn, it just disappeared. But no, that's good because that dude was a straight up demon. He called himself 7 spirits. You know, now he don't understand that goes hand in hand with Matthew, the 12th chapter. You know, 7 spirits more evil than him. All right, cool, brother, cool. The water. The brother be on the job. You understand? Okay, you've been clipped. All right, cool. Now that's cool. I figured that. You know, but you know, sometimes usually on the side, it'll tell you that this person was blocked by so and so, but it's not saying that. But no, all right, cool. The water. All right, so let's go back. Ecclesiastes 10:7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth, and the Lord set it up as such. The servants are Esau and the other nations, right? They're in a rulership position. They're up on that nag, right? And princes, which are who? The Israelites, walking as servants upon the earth. So there's been a role reversal, but that role reversal is going to be reversed back the right way, the way the white men don't want you to, do it. So when we go to Deuteronomy 28:43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and they have gotten up above us very high. And thou shalt come down very low. And bro, how low can you go? Because we've been brought down to the lowest common denominator ever. I mean, this generation got to be the worst generation. As the elder apostle Rakah calls them, GMO babies. Which this GMO baby got some act right from this older Jake on his bus. He beat the shit out that little demon. He beat the snot out of him. The snots. Because these motherfuckers, this young generation, these young motherfuckers out here, they have no fucking respect for their elders. They're worse than beasts. At least beasts are in their proper order. Even if they go into the jungle, the beasts in the jungle will be scared. A lion will run away from these demons. That's how uncouth they are. It says, he shall what? Lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And that's exactly what happened. That's why it says, Proverbs 22:7, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. The one that borrows becomes a slave to the one that lends. Who's the one that lends? The international banking family. The other nations, the ones that are higher up, the rulers of the nations. But it begins with Esau, the so-called white man. All right. What else we got? So the word Kuraga for M-A-R-K in the book of Revelation 13 means an imprinted mark, something that they cut into you. And it shows you, because it says thing carved. The mark branded upon horses, that's a branding. Thing carved. When you carve something, you cut into. Sculpture, graven work. All right. So now, when we go to the root word of that Kuraga, you have the word karax. It says from charaso or karaso, to sharpen to a point. Why would it have to be sharpened to a point? To be able to cut into. See? Through the idea of what? Scratching. To cut into. All right? Now, what is that? When we go to micro C-hip knee to the idol. Let's go to images. There we go. Let me see if they have one with the MOTB on it. Here we go. Beautiful. There you go. That's a delivery system, sharpened to a point. And that's the MOTB, the micro C hip. And you've seen, those of you that have been watching for a while, you've seen individuals actually get this device put into their hands. Now the part with the in the forehead is the ones that are getting that Neuralink. All right. Now here, I want to show you like the bigger. There we go. There we go. Oh, it's kind of small. Let's see. There we go. See, that's the delivery system. You can't really see it that good, but it's an a pointed edge. There's a hole right through there that you put the device, which is a micro C up in there, and then they cut into your flesh. And that's what the word karax means. All right. Let's go back. And then the karax goes into the word grapho, which means graph or to write, which is your information, but it's also cutting into like we read, before that, the idolatrous images were carved with a chisel. All right. And when you do that, see, because it says here, let's see. Number 2, to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, write down, record. See, but it also means to cut into. Like when you grave a either stone or wood, and you make an idol out of it. You cut out the eye sockets, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the hands, the fingers. All right. And this device of the micro C hip and the karax, which is the delivery system, goes back to the Old Testament, which is the all, which is spelled in the scriptures AUL, but in the modern spelling is AWL, and the AWL looks like a ice pick. Okay. And when you read this whole thing, it speaks about a Hebrew servant that becomes a servant to a master, to another Israelite, and he was supposed to work for 6 years. And the 7th year, the master is supposed to give him enough substance for him to go out and start his own thing. But there was a catch, because if the master gave him a wife, which was a servant also, and he got with that wife, and he loved that wife, and he had children with that wife, and he wanted to go out free, he would have to leave his wife and the children because they belonged to the master. He didn't have to pay child support. But if he loved his wife and his children, he would have to do a particular ritual, so to speak, in order to stay with the master, and he would be a servant for life, forever, because for the sake of his wife and his children. So when you read down here, Ezekiel 21:6, then his master shall bring him unto the judges, because you needed witnesses. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore, meaning cut into, just like the device to deliver the micro C, it cuts into the flesh to do what? To insert that device. That device is a badge. That device is what makes you a permanent slave. Bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him what? Forever. And they understand that once they brand you with this thing, that you are a servant for life, forever. Now, when we look up that word all, because you can look up the word bore, those of you that work in construction, when you drill a hole, you have the drill bit on the drill. You either wood or stone or whatever, you drill in a hole, that's boring. All right, drilling. So when you look up the word all, the word there's maratazai, which the ma is not connected to the word. Ma is of or from when it's not connected. Ratazai means to cut into or to bore. Right? All, boring instrument. See how they got the AWL? Because that's the modern spelling. So that goes back to ratazai, which means to bore. So he would take him to the door and ratazai or bore, and then he would insert the what? The all, which is the maratazai, maratazai, which is the cutting instrument to go right through the ear. All right, and in this case, and then that would show that he was a servant for life, and that's what these devils want to do. Now, when you look up the word all, for those of you that never looked it up, it looks like a ice pick. See, has a point to it, similar to what we saw. There you go. Similar to the device used to deliver the microchip into the flesh, because you would carve this into the ear, and that would be a signal or a sign that this man was a servant or this woman was a servant forever to this particular master. And that's what these devils want to do. And the 666 doesn't mean you get put to death, even though if you take it, you'll get put to death, because the 666 is a three Greek numbers, which the 666 represents the whole entire system, the whole beast system. So Revelation 13:18, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666, which is the word or the numbers 666. And they have three Greek characters or letters that go with it: chi, psi, stigma. Now, when you go to the root words and the root and all that, they don't really break it down. But the word stigma means to cut into. Like stigmata. You have those people that they claim, that they get the cuts of the Lord in them, and they get a cut on their forehead, or they'll get a cut on their hands or their feet or on their side. That's stigmata, to cut into. And when you go to the book of Galatians 6, it tells you that that stigmata was pretty much, matter of fact, let's just get it real quick. Let's go to Galatians 6, and then we'll end it on there. And this is something that we've gone over and 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 over again through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, but you still have those that deny it. Galatians 6:17, from henceforth let no man trouble me, for I bear in my body the marks of the Lord Yahushai. And Yahushai had actual marks put into him, prints, into his hands, into his feet, and into his side. Right? When you look up that word marks here, it's akin to the word stigma. It's stigma. Same as chi, psi, stigma, 666. So the system is, the 666, but the MARK is the microchip. And when you look up the word stigma, right here, it says from a primary stizo, to stick, an example, prick, cut into. All right? It says a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master. See? And that's what these devils want to do today. They want to imprint people with this so that you can be identified as their servant. It says, or command the branded or prick cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods. All right, to cut into. See, to stick, an example, prick, that's stizo. A mark incised or punched for recognition of ownership. And that's what they want to do. So when they put that device in people, that would mean that they would be servants for life. And if you are serving for life to Esau and the other nations, then the Lord has no use for you. That's why it says anyone that takes that MOTB will be destroyed. All right, so with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Don't listen to these false prophets. Keep your head on the swivel. Continue down the things which I has learned, because the spirit of apostasy is out here and it's moving fast, and it is ramping up even more. And blessed are we, because these demons are calling us all kind of crazy ass, saying all kind of crazy shit about us. But that's okay. They said it to Yahushua. They said it about Yahushua. Shalom. Pray that you brothers and few sisters learn something. To the next time I say shalom.